He flew the flag not to make a statement, but to remember the people he once served in a war-torn land. But when a new HOA president decided it was too political, everything changed. What followed wasn't just a battle over a piece of cloth, it became a fight for dignity, free expression, and the soul of a neighborhood. This is the true story of one man, one flag, and the quiet defiance that sparked a community's transformation. Tom Bellamy had lived through the worst of humanity, and somehow, he still believed in the best of it. Decades of humanitarian work in conflict zones had left his body weary, but his spirit unshaken. Gaza, Rwanda, Bosnia. He had seen what bombs do to homes, what fear does to children, and what hope looks like when there's almost none left. Now retired in the quiet suburb of Maplewood Springs, he had traded refugee tents for a creaky front porch and the steady company of the Alabama breeze. He lived alone since Eleanor passed, his wife of 43 years. His anchor in chaos. The porch still bore her favorite flowers. The wind chimes still whispered her laugh. And a small Palestinian flag hung beneath the American one they'd raised together. It wasn't political. It was personal. The flag had been a gift from a boy in Gaza who once handed Tom a hand-sewn square of fabric with trembling hands. "So you don't forget us," he had said. Tom hadn't. The flag wasn't loud or defiant. It was faded, a little frayed, almost apologetically humble, and for years, it swayed in quiet solidarity until Margaret Lele came along. Margaret, newly elected HOA president, was sharp-collared, sharp-voiced, and sharp-eyed. She walked with the air of someone who thought rules weren't just guidelines, but scripture. Within weeks of taking over, she had sent out 10 citations, mailboxes painted off-tone, flower beds unbalanced, a child's chalk drawing on the sidewalk labeled graffiti. Tom received his letter on a Wednesday. "Mr. Bellamy, the flag currently displayed beneath your American flag has been deemed divisive and in violation of HOA policy 4.3. You are required to remove it within 48 hours. Failure to comply may result in HOA-led removal and fines." There was no name attached, just Margaret's stamped signature. Tom didn't call a lawyer. He didn't get angry. He made tea and sat with the letter beside Eleanor's photo. He imagined her reading it. He could almost hear her voice. "You knew peace in war zones. Tom, don't let a lawn dictator shake you." But she already had. 2 days later, the flag was gone, removed while Tom was out shopping. No warning. No knock on the door. Just a bare pole and a scrape of tape left behind. That night, Tom sat at his desk and posted one photograph online. No hashtags, no anger, just an image of the empty pole. And a few quiet words: "I flew this flag, not to provoke, but to remember." The HOA didn't ask. They just removed it. Some silenced the dead by forgetting. "I won't." He shut his laptop and went to bed. He didn't expect much. By morning, the post had over 20,000 shares. By evening, 200,000. Journalists called. Activists messaged. Local TV vans parked at the curb. But Tom never raised his voice. He spoke softly. He told the story of the boy who gave him the flag. He said that if a piece of cloth made someone uncomfortable, maybe they needed to ask why not erase it. Margaret responded only through official channels. A press statement read, "We are committed to preserving neutrality and community standards. Flags representing international conflicts violate our policies." But the damage was done. The next HOA board meeting was packed beyond capacity. Dozens of neighbors stood outside, holding homemade flags of their own: Irish, Korean, Mexican, Jamaican. Others held signs: "Memory is not controversial, and we are more than one flag." Tom didn't speak until the end, and when he did, it wasn't with fire. It was with clarity. "I served in places where silence killed people faster than bullets, where the wrong flag could get you shot, and the right one just meant you survived another day. I flew that flag not to divide, but to remember the people no one else does." Taking it down wasn't enforcement. It was fear. The room was silent. Even Margaret's eyes flickered. But she didn't apologize. She doubled down. Tom filed a suit in small claims court, not for money, but for the principal. His attorney warned him, "These things usually settle." He refused. At the hearing, Margaret's lawyer argued policy, that HOA regulations overruled personal sentiment, that the flag could be interpreted as politically provocative, that if exceptions were made, chaos would follow. Tom, dressed in a simple gray suit and a pin Eleanor once gave him, stood before the judge and said, "I've walked through cities with no roofs. I've seen children draw flags in the dust because they had nothing else. If remembering them is a threat to peace, then maybe we've forgotten what peace is." The judge ruled in Tom's favor. The flag was protected. The removal was illegal. The HOA owed a public apology to be delivered at the next board meeting by Margaret herself. But the judge added one more thing, almost flippantly, almost as a lesson. "The apology," he said, "will be delivered in full view of the neighborhood," and to emphasize the absurdity of the board's overreach. Ms. Lele will wear a clown costume during the reading. The courtroom burst into laughter. 2 weeks later, Margaret stood on the steps of the HOA clubhouse, a full clown wig on her head, face paint smeared by sweat, reading an apology she clearly didn't mean. Tom didn't attend. He didn't need to. Instead, he quietly rehung the flag, and beside it, for the first time, flew a second one, the flag of Maplewood Springs, hand-stitched by his neighbor's daughter. Beneath both, he placed a small plaque on the porch that read, "Here, we remember. Here, we don't erase." The town changed. Not overnight, but flags began to appear. Small ones. Discreet. Proud symbols of family history, ancestry, identity. A Vietnamese flag, a Cherokee Nation flag, a rainbow flag, a Puerto Rican banner in a third-floor window. Margaret resigned 3 weeks later. Citing personal reasons, the HOA rewrote the rulebook with community input. A new clause, unofficially called the Bellamy Clause, stated that no flag representing cultural, religious, or humanitarian identity could be removed unless it incited hate or promoted violence. Tom still walks the block every morning. People wave. Some stop to thank him. He always smiles and says the same thing. It was never about the flag. It was about the people behind it. And when the wind blows just right, you can hear both flags flap softly, one for a memory, the other for a place finally learning how to hold more than one truth at a time.